Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me is our spooky co-host, Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there, foolish mortals. Today, we're here to talk about a spooky movie from the 80s that we don't know what's scarier, the performances or the subject matter. But we're here to talk about not Santa Clara, but Santa Carla, California. Two Corys and some Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys. Watch out for the boys. They're lost. Yeah, now that I think about it, were there any boys that were lost in this movie?
That little one that looked like child Wolverine.
Just that one? That was the only one, right? Everyone else was like lost older teenagers, probably their early 20s.
Yeah, no, they were all lost. They were all lost brat packs.
Lost men.
Lost young guns. Why was Emilio not in this movie, first of all? Oh,
Lost Boys. So this movie, directed by Joel Schumacher. You might remember Joel Schumacher from Batman Forever fame, who arguably turned that franchise into the shitter. But I think he hit it out of the park with this one because you can't create a fictional city with vampires as effectively as Joel Schumacher can. Because apparently this movie was supposed to be like a kid's vampire Goonies. And then he saw it as like, I'll direct this, but I'm going to change some shit up. Apparently Schumacher had some pull back in the day. But before I get too much into that, what was your origin story of the Lost Boys? And what were your expectations?
So I'm going to tell you something that you may or may not believe. Up until watching this, I had never seen this movie.
Never. Not even clips, nothing?
Nope, nothing. So when I started it and saw that it was a Dick Donner, Joel Schumacher movie, I was like, okay, maybe I've missed something all these years.
Maybe. You're not giving your answer up just yet.
Maybe. But yeah, no, I as the cast became clear, man, did they pick the wrong Goonie. Yeah, we can, but that was my origin. There was no origin. There is no bathroom.
So I had never seen this until about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, with my wife. And she had said, we never watched Lost Boys ever. I was like, no, I've never seen it before. She's like, I've never made you watch it. No, you've never made me watch it. She's like, we're going to watch it. I was like, fuck. Okay, fine. We'll watch it. And I watched it. I'm not going to say what I thought about it, but it wasn't until well into my late 30s that I've seen this. And this movie obviously came out in the 80s. Older movie. I think it's, what, is it over 40 years at this point or around 40 years?
I mean, I would say so. Released in 1984. So this movie turns 40 this year. Or last year. July 30. Oh, wait. Release date July 31st, 1987. Principal photography took place in 84. So this is nearly 40 years old.
Okay.
Nearly.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, this is a movie, Kiefer Sutherland. It's got a cult following. People love The Lost Boys, and it's definitely put its stamp on the mark of time because people just continue to reference this movie. I never got those references until I actually saw it, obviously. But interesting. It's got a very interesting cast, that's for sure. You got Diane Wiest, you got the two Corys, and then, you know, you got Bill from Bill and Ted, along with Kiefer Sutherland, one of the young guns. And so, yeah, it's pretty solid. And I think there's someone else in there. One of the vampire dudes, Schumacher just saw him and was just like, he's got the look. He should be in the movie. He's the dude with the long black hair or long dark brown hair. And yeah, but just some fun facts for the cast. But that's what I got for this. But Mark, I'm curious, before we jump into the specifics of this movie, what is your version of the plot?
Oh, man. My version of the plot is, if you could think of a vampire movie worse than Twilight, Lost Boys is it.
Oof. Oh, yikes. Okay. All right. So let's rewind that back a little bit. Let's see and extrapolate on what you meant by that stuff. So what's strike number one for you?
So the motorcycles, the random dirt bikes.
You mean the random dirt bikes that were so popular in the 1980s and riddled in a lot of the 80s movies?
Were they? I
Yeah.
was alive in the 80s and I never saw anybody riding a dirt bike.
Oh my gosh, I saw so many people ride dirt bikes, and I wanted one myself. I
I
never
saw
got
people ride
one.
dirt bikes in the 90s when the X Games became popular, but not in 87, bro. I mean, I
Mm.
guess Excite Bike was a thing on the NES at the time, but yeah, no. So let's before we get away from the dirt bikes and before we get into this thing, let's start with the casting portion of it, right? So you can point to almost every person in this movie being in a movie where they could have pulled a more talented person from that ensemble cast, right? Diane Wiest, the worst parent in Parenthood.
She's the worst in everything, though. Let's be real. I hate
Corey
her in just
Feldman.
about every movie.
Corey Feldman, the least likable Goonie. Chunk would have been better in this. Chunk. And if there was ever a role that Data should have been brought into, tell me this wouldn't have been better with Data as Edgar Frog.
Everything with Data would be better.
I'm
Hee
just
Kwan would have
saying.
been better in
I'm just
every
saying.
movie,
I'm just
every
saying.
character.
Kiefer Sutherland, there could have been a better young. Kiefer Sutherland was probably the brightest spot in this movie for me.
Yeah, he is definitely the star of this movie.
By far, the star.
I mean, you're not like saying things that are like breaking ground here. Like this
But
is
no, like all of this movie, as I watched it, I was just like, man, you could have made this movie so much better if you just would have picked the other or a different actor from all of the ensembles. Think about it. Data, Keanu, Annie Parent from fucking Parenthood. It just so much better. I don't know. And there was a lot of things that maybe from an aesthetic perspective I didn't get. The terrible 80s hair in this was something special. Corey Haim's initial outfit in this, where he's wearing like a trench coat made out of bad drapes. Wow.
I mean, you're forgetting it's the 80s, right? Like that's the reason for their apparel.
I understand it's the 80s, but this is like there's so many 80s movies that are better than this.
It's so accurate. I mean, the apparel and the wardrobe is so accurate. That's the problem with this movie.
Than all of these people. John Cryer was cooler than all of these people. I don't know. I was cool on the 80s bit of it. The other thing that kills me is
apparently you weren't. You didn't like the 80s characters, the cast, or the clothing. So I don't think you were.
I watched it and the whole time I'm thinking, why isn't this better? And I think that it's a Joel Schumacher theme. Like,
just doesn't make good movies.
He picks one guy that is supposed to be in that role, and the rest of them, it's just like, guy, do better. Like Batman Forever, Jim Carrey was born to be the Riddler.
Oh God, I hated him as the Riddler.
The rest of it,
hold on, Dr. Chase Meridian, Nicole Kidman. Totally the right pick. For sure. 100%.
Okay, Nicole Kidman was good.
Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face. Good.
No.
You just like shitty Jim Carrey. That's what you like.
Listen.
Because he was awful. I was so... Like, it makes my blood boil when people say that Jim Carrey is good in that role. I was like, ugh.
I loved it.
Like, least favorite character out of them all.
That was the whole movie. The whole reason the movie was okay. I didn't even mind Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Liked him too.
I didn't mind him. But I love Val Kilmer too. Like I enjoy Val Kilmer. Not as compelling. You can't nobody follows Michael Keaton as Batman. So it's hard. It's hard for me. But I mean, we're talking about Joel Schumacher, the guy who made the guy who made Phantom of the Opera with Leonidas. Like the guy who made Gerard Butler.
Is that what?
An opera singer. We're talking about the guy who after letting Jim Carrey shine in Batman and Robin made him the weird crazy guy in the number 23.
Wait, he did? Schumacher did that movie?
Yeah. After St. Elmo's Fire, I think that Flatliners was also pretty
Wait,
okay.
hold on. We're gonna skate over that. Like after St. Elmo's fire. No.
After
Like
St. Elmo's
what?
Fire, I think they just gave him the rights to things. Did you notice the beginning of this movie was St. Elmo's Fire, but with um fucking Shawn Michaels playing random fiery saxophone. I was like, man, they really like saxophone in the 80s. But then I looked at St. Elmo's Fire and I was like, oh wait, no. Joel Schumacher just really liked saxophone in the 80s.
I believe that is Tim Capello, and how dare you put some respect on his
Oh, sorry,
goddamn name.
Tim. Oh, Mr.
Dude,
Capello there.
the best part of the movie is him and that song rocking out and
Yeah,
being like
that's
and not
that's
Shawn
exactly
Michaels.
the
Not Shawn Michaels, but Triple H. That
I,
was like early 90s Triple H.
it's not Triple H. It's more like Gangrel.
Oh, hey, I'll settle for that too. But
Mm.
when you can be that ripped, and I think he still makes appearances at cons and stuff like that, and rightfully so.
That's the guy from Lost Boys.
No, that's just him. That's what he does. He fucking walks around with no shirt and plays the saxophone.
It's amazing.
So,
Rob Lowe should do that too.
I think he wears just like he wears like one of those S&M like Bennett from Commando shirts, and then he still plays his saxophone. But
Oh
no,
my
it's
god.
like I thought when I first saw this movie, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, why is that dude dressed like that? And why is he rocking out with the saxophone? But I love it now. Like it's the
You love
cult
it now.
status and the fact that it's just so out of place, at least now, but maybe back in the day where people would be like, yeah, rock out with that saxophone solo, man. Like, do it. Do your thing, Tim. But yeah, I found it entertaining.
I had to look up IMDb Tim Capello. His character name in this movie, do you know what it is?
Tim?
Beach concert star.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh my god.
It's solid, man. I don't know. That alone makes this movie memorable, and I'm okay with it. Like the fact that it's just so bananas, but I love the Triple H or Gangrel comparison because dude looks just like him. And everyone else is just rocking out at this concert, loving this shirtless saxophone guy. And then there's Jason Patrick and just staring at this one girl, just being super creepy. And then she notices, and then he continues to be super creepy. It's just so funny.
I thought the worst movie Jason Patrick was in was Speed 2. I was wrong.
Oh God.
I was wrong.
My God.
I thought the worst movie. I thought the movie where Jason Patrick made the worst decision for a woman was Speed 2. I was wrong. I was wrong.
Okay. Care to elaborate a little
I
bit more
like
on
this
that?
movie better than Speed 2.
You like this movie better than Speed
I thought
2?
his acting in this movie was better than Speed was not nearly as good as Speed 2.
Okay. So you don't like this movie?
No.
Okay.
No. But let's continue to talk about how terrible it is because I mean there's a lot of meat on the bone.
Well, I think that's the point of it. Is this movie
I mean,
was supposed to be like tongue in cheek, but not like slapsticky like Naked Gun, but at the same time, there's humor in it. There's a little bit of horror element. You have the intriguingness of being just imagine this movie's for teenagers, or at least guys in their 20s that look like teenagers. And they yearn to have like this belongingness to a group. And yeah, you get peer pressured by a bunch of vampires and like, holy shit, things aren't exactly as what they seem. And in this town, vampires exist, and there's only a select few of them that are really aware of it and are really hesitant about everything, and two of them being the Frog Brothers. But when you see these Frog Brothers in the comic store, talk me through what you're thinking here, because I can only assume that this is where you start to think like this movie is bullshit.
It was the St. Elmo's Fire rave where I started to think that this movie was bullshit. But this is a very serious book. I'm like, I love the nerd cred for this, and this does hit an 80s trope for me where they have to put like a seriously unfuckable character in every great 80s teen movie. And you know, where Ducky walked, Corey Feldman ran in this movie. Wow. And I love that Corey Feldman, because you know they did a follow-up to this, right? Like they did a TV series based on
there
Lost
was
Boys.
like a second Lost Boys movie, and I think there was like a third one, if I'm not mistaken.
Lost Boys, The Tribe, Corey Feldman came back. Corey
Yeah.
Feldman, not too big of a star to walk away from his Lost Boy roots.
I want to say Feldman and Haim had like a falling out because Feldman said that he was never going to do one without Haim, and then he
And then
did.
Haim died and he could.
Yeah. No, no, no. I think he died. He did it, well before he died. And so they were
Oh.
pissed at each other. So I don't know if they ever reconciled, but okay. So Frog Brothers to me was just like, where the fuck is this movie going? And it has its bright spots. I don't know, man. I think the music and the soundtrack is solid on this movie. Like the Cry Little Sister song is a banger. You could put that on now and I'll just jam out to it. It's just kind of, you see that this movie's a little out there, but at the same time, it has catchy as fuck songs. Certainly, of a lot of those songs, and Tim Capello is one of those contributors of some of those banger songs on the soundtrack. I think this soundtrack was one of the other movies that like really molded the 80s of like, okay, you have to have a good soundtrack for a movie. Lost Boys being one of them as a prime example. But what did you think about the overall music?
None of it was like, none of it was my favorite 80s music. I thought it was really funny that they played Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me in this. The irony was not lost on me. Yeah, there was a lot of Elton John in this. There was more Elton John than I even thought they would do. And then you got some classics, some Aerosmith and such in this, but I don't know. This is not an 80s soundtrack that I was all over in any way. Maybe I'm just not the in excess group or key demographic for this, but it missed me a little bit. It wasn't terrible, but it was like the wrong kind of 80s for me, I guess. And I love
Okay.
80s movies. Like I want to make for those who have not listened and came to this to hear us love on Lost Boys. I love 80s music. I love 80s movies. I just don't love this one.
Which is funny because this is one of the biggest 80s movies out there.
It is. It was one of those that I'm like, I haven't watched this. I feel like I'm missing something. And I watched it and I was like, oh, I don't know that I'm missing anything. And normally
When
movies that have video stores in it are even more my bag.
Yeah, I would imagine that this would be played in a movie rental place like on nonstop loop back in the day when it was very, very popular. But, when it came to this movie, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of it at first because my wife like talked it up and I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like, is this a serious movie? Is this a scary movie? Because originally I thought this was a scary movie. I didn't realize it to be, kind of very bubblegum pop type. You have a little bit of that type of flavor along with some spooky or scary or off-putting elements. It's only noodles, Michael. Like that type of stuff. And then the whole rice and the maggots thing. Really cool visual. I think that's like a really cool power that the vampires have. I think that's one thing for sure that I like seeing those illusions happen. And there's like a little bit of a transformation for Michael, Jason Patrick's character, of like, okay, you're turning into a vampire, dude, and this is the shit that's happening. You're not going to see your reflection. You're going to be really horny for some blood, and you're probably going to eat the dog. Like that's something where I like seeing a little bit of that struggle because I like seeing bad shit happen to the good guys. And so, like, how is this going to be resolved? You're the older brother, and you're just going to turn into a vampire. Is that it? It's game over? You're going to have to die at the end of the movie? What did you think about that? Did you think that it was going to be like a doom and gloom for Michael?
I mean, Michael had to pay the price for just like stalking out some strange when he first moved to town and thinking he could steal the bleach blonde Kiefer Sutherland mullet's girlfriend right off the back of his motorcycle. Like, what are you doing with your little red rad bike, bro? You knew it was going to get resolved because that's how movies are written, especially in the 80s. But Michael, to me, was so dry as a character. Maybe because he was just brooding. A lot of brood going on there. Super broody. From the beginning of it. When he's like, is there work here? Can I get a job? Like just right off the jump. He was super broody. I don't know. Maybe they tried to balance the slapstick humor of the Coreys in this with a broody character. And they went It went wrong both ways. But I don't know. I don't know. I thought that as the movie went on, though, the less Michael talked and the less Michael had screen time, the better and more 80s quippy it got and it improved. But Michael made some bad decisions in this movie, and all young men should learn from 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 Michael not to just chase some random ass because you could drink vampire blood in a in half of a hotel on a cliffside and turn into half a vampire. Not a full vampire. You never go full vampire, apparently. Only half.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting that he didn't turn fully. Like he still had control over it. But I kind of like that aspect of the vampirism because if you have him go full vampire, his mom and his brother are dead, including the dog. So that's super quick. So I thought that was like a nice way to kind of delay it, but also that little twist of, you kill the head vampire, then everyone else will revert back to normal. And then, you kill Kiefer Sutherland, and well, all right, all's done, right? No, 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 no. You still got Max. So he was the head vampire. Did you see that coming?
Well, hang on. I want to rewind a little bit on the vampire rules in this, right? Because there are some standard vampire rules, like you kill Dracula, everybody who was a vampire is no longer a vampire, right? Like that's part of the rules. But can you tell me what the vampire rules were in this half-ass, half vampire situation? Because I know what I think they are, but sometimes I miss things. There's a point to this line of questioning. So can you please just indulge me into, now that he's a half vampire, what makes him a full vampire?
Time, I guess. I don't really
See,
know. Go
as I
into
was
it.
watching the movie, what I understood it to be was you had to kill. Your first kill made you a full vampire. And the reason that Star wasn't a full vampire is she hadn't killed anybody yet. And when he raw dogged her, which is not a smart thing to do with a chick who thinks a vampire, she was supposed to kill him and that would have made her a full vampire, but she didn't. But by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
logic of making your first kill turning you into a full vampire and thus unredeemable from your half vampire status back to real human status, you would have just been a full vampire or a dead vampire once the main vampire was killed. Michael killed Kiefer Sutherland. He should have been a full vampire. They broke their own rules after they wrote their own rules.
Wait, you're saying when Michael killed Kiefer Sutherland, he should have been a full vampire?
Because the rules of the game were you go to half vampire and then your first kill ingratiates you to full vampire status.
Did he kill him? Like, okay, so
He
it's been a few
pressed
weeks.
him into the wood stakes and the deer antlers and shit.
Yeah, so he killed him. He didn't suck his blood.
But he killed him. Star wasn't gonna kill Michael and then end him. He was gonna he is one of us, which I
But-
really hope that reference is what that is in Wolf of Wall Street. Because now that's even better for me. That was a Lost Boys reference. Not that I enjoy Lost Boys, but
So I think though, like you got the definition of killing someone wrong. Like if you kill someone by you drinking their blood, yeah, you're a vampire. If you
they didn't tell you what the fine print was.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I didn't need to know that. If someone says like, hey, to become a vampire, you need to kill someone. Like I'm not thinking like, oh God, if I run him over with my car, I become a vampire. Like that's not
Killing's
crossing my mind
killing.
at all.
I don't know, man. Killing's killing for me. But
Killing is a vampire is so completely different.
I
So,
didn't realize
have you ever been
that there was
turned
such
into a vampire?
subtlety. I have not. Have you?
Yeah, have you ever turned into a vampire by getting run over by a car? Like, no, that doesn't happen. You get turned into a vampire by getting bit or some shit like that.
I've never
So
been turned
that's-
into a vampire by drinking toilet wine either, but apparently that's a thing.
Well, they're drinking blood, the blood of the main vampire. I
The
guess
new and
I don't know.
everlasting vampire.
I'm okay with like the iffy rules because are there ever any really good rules for vampirism? No, and that's why Twilight gets shit on so much because everyone looks like sparkly diamonds. Like that when you flesh it out that much, that's where people start to poke holes. Like Blade
My
is a
friend,
perfect
this
example.
movie is ripe.
Blade
for
is a
hole
perfect
poking.
example that people are using silver to kill vampires, and it doesn't make any sense because silver is used to kill werewolves, not vampires. So people
Apparently,
get their own mythology fucked up.
apparently, holy garlic soup is used to kill vampires, though. That was by
I
far the coolest death in this movie.
Well, that's like the best thing about like I love the fact that when they're going over the rules or something like where he says like no one dies the same. Like no one really pays that much attention to it, but when you watch it a second or a third or fourth time, you realize, yeah, everyone dies fucking differently and it's horrific and hilarious.
The
And so that's
Ghostbusters 2 death was definitely my favorite death.
I
The
don't know which.
bathtub, where then every
Oh,
other drain in the house went full Ghostbusters 2.
yeah,
Just
that
less
was awesome.
penisy.
Like I loved seeing that again. Was like, oh yeah, okay. I forgot when Corey Feldman says it, they all die different ways. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. How are they all gonna die? And you start seeing one by one. It's like, huh. Yeah, that's a little different. Like, what the fuck's gonna happen on the next one? So I was cool with that. I like when you don't flesh it out and you make it a little bit of fun and just get a little crazy with it to where, yeah, it's all over the place. No big deal. It's all part of the entertainment. And I'm good for it because now I'm kind of curious as to see what happens in the other Lost Boys. Because if they keep that same attitude of like they all die differently, no one ever dies the same way, then that'd be pretty interesting to watch.
I think that that was this movie took like an hour before it got decent for me. The ending culmination scene, or battle, or whatever you want to call it, is when the movie started getting decent for me. Before that, it was kind of rough. It was rough for me. But that's where they started giving you some quips, going 80s quotable on you. There were a couple things where I'm just like, did he just say that line from Cocktail? Where he's like, if you go here, you're going alone. And he's like, we don't want it any other way. I'm like, that's a Tom Cruise line that you just brought into your script randomly.
They probably took it from this movie and put it in the Cocktail because Cocktail came out later. So
Did it? I thought
I think
Cocktail,
so, like 87.
this came out in 87.
They shot this in 84, so I don't know. Who knows? But what are some Martha, like if you
The
could
Cocktail came out in
pinpoint
80. Touche.
a Martha moment for you, what would it be?
It's got to be the science behind the vampire. That's my Martha moment. I already gave you the details there. I even got over Corey Feldman's Christian Bale inspiring voice that was down here for some reason and we don't know why.
He hit
Um
puberty, dude.
yeah, no, it sounded like he really tried to bring it down though. Like that
Puberty will
didn't
do
even
that
bother
too.
me that much. Death by Stereo made me go a little bit. Just a little. Like there were some good quips in there. And even Grandpa at the end who acknowledged the fact that they were vampires. Yeah, that's funny. That's pretty funny to me. That's okay. But the vampire rules and just the yeah, I don't know. And maybe you're right that on a rewatch this might be better. But when I look for a good campy Halloween movie, this is not at the top of my list, but it's not terrible. I do think it'd be, have your kids seen this?
Yep.
Did they like it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the lens that I can appreciate with this because it is like one of the least gory and least jump scary Halloween movies that's actually good in the end. Did anything
Well, I
Martha you
will
the first time you saw this?
just to kind of go back to the expectations of going into the movie for watching it for the first time.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was a serious, scary movie. I didn't expect all the campiness, Tim Capello rocking with his shirt off, and the ridiculousness of Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. So that's where it caught me by surprise. Watching it again, and if I would have gone into the movie knowing that it was more comedic than it was supposed to be scary, I would have had the right expectation. And so I think that might be another thing that might make you appreciate this movie just a little bit more. But the only thing that Martha me is Diane Wiest. And she's always going to be my answer for Martha because I don't think there's any movie that I have really liked her in. Every movie, she's super annoying to me and I cannot stand her. One of my favorite movies in the 90s was Little Man Tate, and I hated her in that movie because she was just
Little
such Diane Wiestiness. Like I just can't stand it. I can't. She's a great actress, but I don't like her characters. I really, truly hate her characters, even the ones that you're supposed to like. I just can't get behind her, and I am completely fine with those kids causing some shit in the house and not telling her. So yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the only thing that bothered me, though.
how many movies does Diane Wiest play
The same character.
the mom to the kid that's rambunctious or like Footloose, uh, um, Lost Boys, Parenthood? Like she really does. She really does. She was the mom in Edward Scissorhands too.
Yep.
The Avon lady. She was the mom in The Birdcage. That's a
I
great
just
movie.
can't stand her. Good. Not good.
Not good.
It pains
Not
me. It
good.
really pains me.
I'm
But
sorry.
hey, so we talked about our Martha moments. Mark, I got a question for you. When it comes to 1987's The Lost Boys, can you do this all day?
So, at the beginning of this podcast, after my initial watch, which was today, of this movie, my answer was a very firm no. But after hearing the joy that this brings you, after talking it out a little bit and realizing that perhaps I went in with expectations of grandeur in the way that you did, expecting this to be more of a scary movie, more of like a highlight reel 80s movie, and not expecting the campiness that maybe I should have. I'm willing to give it still a no. But I'll watch it again. But I'll watch it again. Is it on my list of, oh, we got to watch this for Halloween every year? Is it like a it's not there yet. Maybe through rewatches it could, because you know me, I love bad movies. I love bad movies. Nothing But Trouble is it comes to mind. But I still like I'm willing to give it an additional shot, but not anytime soon. And maybe when my son wants to watch something kind of pooky, but not anytime soon, man. It's going to be some time. But
Fair
you
enough.
called this movie. You called this one. So I have to ask you, as the person who suggested this movie, can you do The Lost Boys all day?
I'm going to give you a layered answer. The first time I saw this movie, I was like, fuck no. Because I didn't know what the fuck was going
Same,
on.
same,
Yeah.
same.
This time, knowing exactly what I was going into, knowing that my wife loves this movie, knowing how funny it is, and I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you. This is one of the most 80s as fuck movies out there. I don't know if you can get much more 80s than this movie. You've got a shirtless guy playing the saxophone. You've got the stupid little I'm gonna steal that guy's girlfriend, even though the I don't know the guy, and all shenanigans begin. Totally get that. The just the weird pop culture references that are in it, great. The nerdiness and quirkiness of 1980s kids characters. Jesus, dude. Like I said, I don't know how much more 80s you can get with this. And you also have Diane Wiest, which is not the best part.
Staple of bad 80s movie.
Yeah, not the best part of the movie, but at the same time, you know, I did like her character. She did a good job. I didn't think it was as like blood boiling as every other Diane Wiest character that I've seen, but yeah, I like the acting. I like the fact that you get a chance to see like a few different cameos from people in there, like Bill from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and vampirism. It's always cool to see someone's take on vampires, and the vampire kills freaking awesome. Like that totally brings me back to From Dusk Till Dawn. Just the crazy shit that happened with some of those vampires. And yeah, I can do this all day. I'm down for it. I'll listen to the soundtrack. Hell, I'll turn that soundtrack on during the end credits. But yeah, for sure. I'll watch it again whether it's Halloween or not. I'm down. But that's it. That's what we got.
That is it, thankfully.
But that wraps up another episode for the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of The Lost Boys. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell Dan he's wrong. Just one of us has to be wrong, right? But let us know at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all the socials. Comment. But don't forget, like, subscribe, because if you hated this episode, there's so many more episodes for you to hate on. And really, that's what we're all on the internet for, right? To hate on things with Corey Feldman in them.
Yeah.
Man, I will say, Dan, as you say goodbye to all the people, what you described at the end of that podcast to me was definitely Death by Stereo, the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Well, I like it. I'm down. Cry little sister. Play it all out. Play it all out. But we will see you next time, everyone.